Hi, I'm Ben from BIM-objekter, and today I'll be showcasing the Ivarsson facade cladding elements. So what I'd like to do is just quickly show the basic settings here. So as you can see here, we have two different objects, the simple table and the multiple table. The basic settings are exactly the same, except the multiple table is a matrix style object, which I'll show in a moment. So as you can see here, we have some basic dimensions here. We have thicknesses of the individual elements. The thickness is actually controlled by the table size. We have gaps between the individual elements that we can choose here or that we can set ourselves. We have a form here. We have a rectangular and a polygonal form. We can even choose the widths and the heights here. The table size is actually the maximum. So as you can see here, there's two different thicknesses, an 8mm and a 12mm. The heights are the same, and the major difference is the length. So we have a 2500 and a 3100. We have different color families, which of course can be combined. And of course we have the different materials from within those color families. We have a weight parameter here, which is actually grade, but if I go ahead and change the length of this individual element, you'll see that the weight is actually updated accordingly. Sorry, that was the height parameter. Again, another major difference between these two objects is the simple object is for more complex cladding projects. This object gives you full freedom. You can change the individual points and you can change the individual faces of it as well. The multiple table is for more fairly basic type patterns where the pattern doesn't change that much. So if we go over to the next page, we have of course the basic 2D representations. We can even show the sizes and the weights in the 3D window, on the floor plan, and in the elevation window as well. So what I'd like to do now is place these out or multiply these out. Now there's no extra tools or add-ons required for what I'm about to do now, because all of these tools are actually within the BIM system, and in this case it's Archicad. So if I just quickly go ahead and copy these out, and just delete that one there. And again, if I just go ahead and copy this up here and just move that over here a little bit. Again, no extra tools required, no add-ons required. If I just go ahead and multiply that out again. And what I'd like to do now is just to fill in this empty area here. So again, just simply copy out this element. And as I mentioned before, we have full freedom. We can change all of the individual points of these elements. Just quickly go ahead and do this last one here before we go ahead and copy the rest of the elements up. And there we go. So if I go ahead and mark all of these, and what I'd like to do now is do an elevate, and the spacing is correct there. So if I just go ahead and pull these up. Okay, so what I need to do now, of course we have windows behind these elements. So that's the beauty with these elements, is that we have full control over every point. So I can go ahead and start, dragging these out and getting these to line up with the windows here. And just find the hotspots and simply sort of get down and start really sketching your facade with the individual points here. And I'll just quickly go ahead and do that one here. I can just drag that down here. And as I mentioned earlier before, we can combine the different color families as well. So if we want to change this to a Pictura red, we can do that. And I can just go ahead and finish that off here. And there we go. And then we can go ahead, of course, and adjust it and do the required adjustments. So I just like to show something that I've quickly done here. Now, the beauty about this is once this is all done, is that we can simply do a list here, a bill of materials. Now these bill of materials can of course be saved out as Excel files or tab text. And as you see here, we have the Excel file, and these can be sent to the manufacturer for analysis. We can get an answer back saying yes, this is doable, or no, it's not. So that was the simple table. So what I'd like to do now is I'd actually like to go ahead and show the multiple table, or the matrix style object as I like to call it. So as you can see here, we have rows. We can decide amount of rows, we can decide the widths, and we can even decide the sizes of the individual panels within the matrix as well. But what I've done here, as you see here, it looks exactly the same as the last object that I just placed out. But in this case, if I grab onto one of the intelligent hotspots and simply drag it out, you see here that we have a full pattern here now, or a full facade. We have hotspots here as well that can help us decide the total width. And with these hotspots, I just quickly drag this down, these hotspots actually change the overall size of the individual elements, so we don't have to do any guesswork. So another good thing about this matrix object is we can have individual holes as well. So I know that I need 6 holes, and these holes can be different shapes. In this case, it's a rectangular shape hole. We have a control here where we can either turn it off, or we can simply do a circle here, and we can even change the radius of the hole as well. So what I'd like to do is just go ahead and turn this back on to a rectangular hole and go ahead and quickly adjust that. And it's very, very quickly to do. But as I mentioned before, this multiple object is for simpler style facades where the pattern doesn't change that much. So if I just take the next one here, and I have a window up here that I need to show. And if we just drag that out, and as you can see here, it's very intuitive. It's a very easy way to work. There's no extra add-ons required. We can still get out our bill of materials that we can send away, and very quickly in the design phase see how our facade's going to look with the individual or the multiple table. So as you can see here, it's very, very simple to work with, moving the holes around, etc. So I just like to quickly go ahead and show the multiple table that I've already completed here. And as you can see, it's very easy, it's very quick to do. We have full control either with the simple table where we can do whatever we like. We can change the forms, we can change the individual points, we can change the faces as well. Or for more simpler patterns, we can use the multiple object. So that's what I'd like to show today. Thanks for stopping by, and we'll see you next time.